Now at the same time, if you recall, the business analyst was assigned a task to create a new project requirement. So what the business analyst will do, will jump over into Calibre and create a new requirement. We're going to assign this to the development group and provide some details. Place in our description, and now we will save these changes so the developer can now attach this to their change process. So now we're ready for our developer to actually make these changes. So the developer does their work from within Micro Focus Enterprise Developer, which is built on top of Microsoft's Visual Studio 2010. So within this IDE, since it is all integrated, I can see things like all of my requirements from Calibre, and I can see my items from StarTeam. And now in StarTeam I can see that there is a change request now assigned to me. I can come in and take a look at that change request directly from the IDE, not have to jump out, and review what's required, what's requested to be changed. I can take a look at some of the info that's been attached for me, and looks like we've got single COBOL module that we're going to need to be changed to show the company name, and I've even got a line of code that will help me determine where I need to make these changes. So now I'll go over to my Solutions Explorer, and this product is directly connected to StarTeam to provide change control as well. I'm going to do a checkout from StarTeam and indicate that this is the module I want to work with. I can now pull up the code, make my necessary changes here. Looks like this is the line currently showed. I'm going to uncomment this line and put in a real value here. So now I want to debug, do my unit testing for these changes that I just made. I'm going to go over and take a look at my Micro Focus servers list and start my local server that I do my testing against. Refresh my list now. Now it does appear that the server is running. I'll go ahead and start my debug session to allow me to do interactive debugging against that server. My debug session is up and running. I'll jump over to Rumba, connect up to that server, issue my transaction. I've now broken into code. I can now walk through my code, interrogate variables, do things like add a breakpoint or a watch to evaluate particular variables, and continue running my application. Do some additional debugging, and it does appear that on each of the screens for this application we now have the company name showing. Come back over here, end my debugging session. Next thing I want to do is check my code back in to ensure that my changes are now in the repository to be promoted down the chain. But StarTeam is indicating to me that I need to tie this change to an active change request and requirement. So what I'll need to do is link this over to the active change request that's been assigned to me. Now my change has been committed to the repository. Now I can go back over to the change request. I'm going to assign this back to the manager. I'm going to add in some comments. And let's also jump over to Rumba, and we'll take a screenshot as well to demonstrate what it was that we changed. Then we'll go back and add in that screenshot. And then we'll save this off. So now the manager sees the updates that have come in. Looks like the unit testing is complete. See this attached screenshot. Looks like the changes were made. Now we'll take this and move it on to testing. We'll also add in a comment for the testing folks, let them know to run these changes through the current set of regression tests we have in place using Silk. QA now picks up this change request, sees the information that's been applied, and now based upon the information, the attachments are going to run through these tests through the regression testing driven by Silk Test. Okay, so the next thing the QA folks are going to want to do is actually perform regression testing against the existing system to verify these changes. They have a regression test already set up that exercises the existing system in Silk Performer, and what we're going to do, we're going to run through that script real quick and utilize the functionality within Silk Performer to modify the script to verify these new changes. So it just went through a real quick run through of the existing system. As you can see, here are the screens and the responses that it received. What I can do with Silk is go up onto the screen and just highlight a particular area. Here is the banner section of the screen where we made our change. I can highlight that and just tell Silk to please verify that. Please verify that this particular part of the screen equals this string, and to generate an error if you don't see it. It's now modified our script for us. We can now bounce back over into our script, and we'll see down here the modification. So now what we're going to do is run a new test utilizing these changes. So here's our current workload distribution running against our script. We're going to spin up 20 virtual users, and we'll make this a shorter test. We'll run this for 5 minutes. Now it's going to actually start our test. I can jump back over here to the workbench, and I can view the results from here. Here my virtual user spinning up, transactions going through, and I can view the results graphically of the test here. And when this is done, it'll generate a performance test for us that we're going to attach to our change request. Okay, so we've sped things up a little bit for demonstration purposes, but now our test is done. We can jump over to the results view and see our load test that was just run here today, and we can take a look at the baseline report. What we'll do is now take this report, attach it to the change request, and finish out the process. We'll add our baseline report in. We'll change it to as designed, assign it back to the manager, and now we are done. And there you have it, folks. Micro Focus products driving a change through the SDLC for a company from beginning to end. Thank you very much for your time.